If you've ever found yourself saying or silently thinking, that wasn't my intent, then you're in the right place today. Because intent is one of those things that lives inside of us, but everyone else only gets to experience the outside of it. And that gap between what we meant and how it lands is one of the fastest ways credibility is either built or lost. Welcome to Thoughts on Change, the podcast about the messy, political, emotional, deeply human side of leading change. I'm Kelly, and I believe anyone can implement lean tools until they actually have to get people to use them. Around here, we talk about how to move culture, how to build credibility, and how to influence without bulldozing. Basically, how to herd humans without losing your mind. Welcome back to Thoughts on Change. In our last episode, we talked about integrity and why credibility starts with walking the talk. Today, we're going one layer deeper into the invisible stuff, into intent. Let's get into it. When we talk about intent, we're really talking about one big question. What's your motive? Intent is shaped by your history, your values, the pressure you're under, and what you're trying to accomplish. But most importantly, other people don't get to see any of that. They only see your behavior, and then they fill in the blanks. People decide whether to trust us based on a lot of things. But here are two critical ones: what we do, our actions, and why they think we're doing it, our intent. So, half of credibility comes from real, observable data. And the other half comes from a story people make up about us. And that's where things get messy because humans have a very common pattern. We judge ourselves by our intent, and we judge others by their behavior. So, when something we do doesn't land well, we say, well, that wasn't my intent. But the other person is thinking, then why did you act that way? And neither side is wrong. They're just using completely different data sets. And in CI roles where credibility is currency, that invisible gap can turn into real friction. She's pushing this because she wants control. She's asking questions to catch people doing something wrong. She's doing this to make herself look good. Even when your actual intent is, I'm pushing because I see a real performance problem. I'm asking questions so I can understand. And I want the team to succeed. That gap matters. Let me give you a concrete example from my life. We were implementing an hour-by-hour tracking system on a line that was chronically under pressure. My intent was genuinely caring and performance-oriented. I want to help relieve the bottleneck. I want to make the operators work easier. We need to see where the problems actually happen so we can fix them. But the interpretation was wildly different. They saw, you want to micromanage us. You're trying to catch us not doing our jobs. You're trying to get more output without paying us more. Same project, same actions, two completely different stories. And if you've ever been on the front end of any change, you know exactly how fast that disconnect can tank trust. So here's lesson number one. Call out your intent. People cannot read your mind. Undeclared intent gets replaced with assumed intent. And assumed intent is almost always negative, especially in environments with low trust or past bad experiences. The two intents that build trust the fastest are caring and seeking mutual benefit, meaning that you matter and the outcomes matter. But let's name the nuance. If you don't fully care yet, or you're unsure whether mutual benefit exists, don't fake it. Honesty is actually your best credibility move here. Something like, I want to be transparent about my role here. My intent is to meet this requirement, and I want to do it in the least painful way possible. I don't have all the answers yet. My goal is to understand before we act. Clear intent beats hidden intent every time. Now, lesson 2, intent alone isn't enough. You can declare the most caring, supportive, collaborative intent in the world, but if your behavior doesn't match, credibility disappears immediately because we judge and are judged by what we can directly observe. And it's extremely easy for the brain to assume bad intent when behavior feels off. In my hour by hour example, I had caring and mutual beneficial intent, and I even stated it. But looking back, my behavior told a different story. My tone when asking questions was more accusatory than curious. My frustration leaked through my body language. When the tracking didn't get filled out, I focused on compliance, not understanding. So from their side, the story became your intent is to control us. Even though in my mind, the story was my intent is to support you. So this is where J.M. Barrie gives us such a useful reminder. Never ascribe to an opponent motives meaner than your own. And where CI thought leader Karen Ross gives us the tactical practice. Assume positive intent. Not because it's naive, but because it keeps the relationship intact long enough to actually solve the problem. So let's connect this back to credibility. Integrity that we talked about last episode is about alignment between words and actions. And intent is the why behind the action. And credibility grows when people can see the action and make sense of the motive. When intent is clear and behavior reinforces it, trust accelerates. When intent is hidden or behavior contradicts it, even good actions get questioned. So here are a few things to try this week. First, examine your motives. Pick one change you're trying to influence and ask yourself, why? Why am I doing this? And then ask again, why? And keep going until you hit what really matters to you. Then go and declare your intent. Try starting conversations with, my intent here is, this matters to me because, what I'm hoping for is, and then check your alignment. Afterwards, reflect. Did my behavior match my declared intent? Where did it drift? And try to choose positive intent consciously. Next time someone's behavior rubs you wrong, pause and ask, what's the most generous explanation I could choose right now? That one shift can change the tone of an entire interaction. Remember, credibility isn't built by being flawless, as you saw in my mistake earlier. It's built by being clear, consistent, and honest, especially about intent. And when we get better at that, we stop feeling like we're in a battle and start creating the conditions for breakthrough. So let me know what you notice this week when you start saying your intent out loud. And if you need help boosting your credibility, check out if my coaching might be a good fit for you. You can read more about how I work with women in CI, my CI warriors, on my website. There's a link in the show notes. Honestly, though, the best way for both of us to see if this is a good fit is to just have a conversation. You can book a quick, free 30-minute chat on my website as well. I'd love to connect with you and learn more about what you're experiencing. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining. That's a wrap for this episode of Thoughts on Change. If you're also out there trying to move culture instead of just installing tools, hit subscribe and share this with a fellow CI warrior. And remember, progress beats perfection, curiosity beats control, and culture beats everything. See you next time.